right away. They'll take it up first at License and Health, and I'll bring it over.
Oh, okay.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. We're called the May 6th meeting of the Common Council to order. I will ask our clerk to call the roll to determine a quorum.
Alderperson Vitale.
Here.
Weigel.
Here.
Barzak.
Here.
Chapletsky. Here. Haas.
Here.
Lysick.
Here.
May.
Here.
Probst. Here. Frankie. Here. Rote.
Here.
10 present, none excused.
We have a quorum. Alderman Vitale will lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. Okay, we have 3 items up for public hearing this evening. I'll ask the clerk to read public hearing number 1.
A hearing on an ordinance to repeal subsection 12.40 sub 1 sub W of the revised municipal code relative to liquor store uses in the central business district.
Mr. Stiebel.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The first public hearing has to do with revising the zoning code for the downtown commercial district, the C1 district, which currently allows liquor stores throughout the entire C1 district. The ordinance tonight would be to amend that ordinance to remove liquor stores from the permitted uses in the downtown area. The Plan Commission has reviewed this item and has deferred to the Common Council, and we've received one letter from the owner of the building who was opposed to this issue. If you have any additional questions, I'd be glad to answer them.
Thank you, Mr. Stiebel. Are there any questions or comments from the council on this item?
Mayor Devine.
Alderman Weigel.
John, I don't have it in front of me. Would this allow, we have currently one Class A in the C1 liquor store. Would this allow that Class A license to be moved within the C1 to another location perhaps? Or, and maybe I'm just overthinking this.
No, it could not move.
Okay, so
It would be grandfathered into its current location.
into its current location only. And
And if it vacates that location, then it would lose its grandfather status.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Alderman Weigel. Are there any other questions or comments from the council? Okay, seeing none, are there any questions or comments from the audience on this item for public hearing? I would like to say something. Okay, if you could give us your name and address for our record.
Hi, my name is Omar Audi. Address is 1357 South 76th Street. I'm the owner of Super Bottle, kitty corner from City Hall. And the reason I'm here today is, as some of you already know, that we bought the old Owl Imports, which is across the street from City Hall. And prior to buying this building, we went to the zoning commission, and we've asked them if we wanted to transfer our liquor license, would it be allowed? And they gave me this, which basically says liquor stores would be allowed, providing Common Council approval. And we didn't think that we would have any issues with that at that point. So we went ahead and purchased this building at 7546 West Greenfield, which is the old Owl Imports. Tonight, we're here to change that law for some reason, or repeal the approval of a liquor store or liquor license in that area. And I'm just here to say that, I've been at my current location for 5 years. It's directly across the street from the downtown district area. And we've ran a clean business for 5 years. We haven't had any issues. And our future, prior to tonight's meeting, was to move over there. And we were planning on opening up a liquor store / grocery / possibly a deli, which would employ some employees. Not quite sure how busy we were going to be in the beginning. As everybody knows, small business is very hard. And it's even harder now because we've got the streets closed off by me. And I'm just kind of disappointed that this law came forward. I'm not sure why it came forward. I can understand we don't want any more liquor stores in competition with other liquor stores. But I do feel that prior to this, I purchased this building with intentions to move in it. Otherwise, I don't need another building to pay taxes on. So I would ask the council to at least grant me a grandfather in prior to approval of this repeal. And let me improve the business district. I can only see improvement here, because we run a clean store. I would like to add more higher-end craft beer and promote some of the higher-end stuff into this, into my establishment. We're doing that currently now. It's just we're out of room. It's a smaller store. And I would thank you if you would consider that.
Thank you very much. Does anybody else in the audience have questions or comments on public hearing number 1? Okay, seeing none, we will close our first public hearing. I will ask our clerk to read public hearing number 2.
A hearing on the special use permit for proposed auto repair facility, J&S Auto Repair, to be located at 662 South 93rd Street.
Mr. Stiebel.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. On 2 South 93rd Street, is it a commercial building in an area that's zone C3 commercial, but it is predominantly a residential area, and the purpose of the public hearing is because it's a C3 zoning district, it requires a special use, and that's the purpose of the public hearing this evening. As part of the improvements, they are anticipating making what I would call substantial improvements to the building and the exterior and the landscaping of the property. Also, improvements to the building itself. There'll be no vehicles to be repaired which have been repaired or will be repaired to allow to be parked in the street. And then there's also a new issue that we are proposing for this issue for the first time, is that we will no longer allow vehicles to be parked longer than 2 weeks on site. And the reason for this is to keep it from any of these from turning into junkyards, which we've been seeing recently. As I mentioned, it's a C3 commercial district surrounded by manufacturing on the left and then residential to the south. Also, it's on a dead end of street, but it is an existing building, and it's going to markedly increase the quality of that particular neighborhood. I might add that this particular operator has operated in West Dallas for over 25 years and has a stellar record of keeping his place clean, which we really appreciate. The Plan Commission has reviewed this proposal, has recommended approval, and we've received one letter in opposition and one letter of support. If you have any questions, I or a representative of the owner would be glad to answer them.
Thank you, Mr. Stiebel. Are there questions or comments from the Common Council on this item? Okay, seeing none, are there questions or comments from the audience on this item? Okay, seeing none, we will close public hearing number 2, and I will ask our clerk to read public hearing number 3.
A hearing on the special use permit for an outdoor extension of premise at the Walleye Saloon, an existing tavern located at 8824 West Beecher Street.
Mr. Stiebel.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The Walleye Saloon is proposing to have outdoor dining in the back of the building here. And one issue that we're going to talk about in a minute is that it is adjacent to a gravel parking lot that they have been leasing for parking, and we'll talk more about that in just a minute. In this particular area, the zoning requires that it have a special use. That's the purpose of the public hearing this evening. The tavern will be asking for an extension of premises, which will allow them to have outdoor drinking outside. They're inside the building is 10 a.m. to mandated state closing, but the outdoor patio area, they're proposing to go 10 a.m. and voluntarily close at 10 p.m. They're also going to be making some significant improvements to the back. One of the more creative issues they want to do is to have a horseshoe pits in the back area. and that's represented by these dots here. So in the back area would be lawned area with 2 horseshoe pits to allow them to have league horseshoes. Also, in the area right along about right behind this area here, they would pave that. That would be a 12 by 24 concrete slab, and then they have 3 tables outdoors. They would fence the perimeter of the area, and then also have planters and additional landscaping throughout the site. 9 parking spaces will be required, and this historically area that has very little parking, they actually have no parking with that building. There's an unimproved lot that they currently lease. Now, we do not allow gravel parking lots in the city of West Allis. They have to be soil erosion and dust-free surfaces. Technically, it had to be paved. What the owner would have to do would be to pave the serviced area and also landscape the area, and then they have outdoor dumpster. That's what the original proposal was. The cost of paving and landscaping and enclosing the dumpster, the owner of the tavern said was prohibitive, so he did not want to do that. And as a result, which he certainly can, that's his option, is that we are recommending approval, but they cannot use that parking lot as part of parking for this use. So it's a privately owned commercial parking lot, but because it has been a parking lot, it can operate as that, but this particular owner cannot utilize it as parking. The Plan Commission has reviewed this and has recommended approval, and we've had no objections to date. If you have any additional questions, I'd be glad to answer them.
Thank you, Mr. Siebel. Are there any questions or comments from the Common Council on public hearing number 3?
Mayor Devine?
Alderman Weigel.
John, could you go back to the slide that shows the backyard and what the service area would be for the outdoor, we're calling it outdoor dining, or are we calling it just licensed? Is it going to be that entire back lot?
Yes, if you look at this back lot area,
Yeah.
this will be the horseshoe pits here, and this is going to be the paved area essentially here. And I think I can get to. One minute. Yeah, this area here. So that lawned area is represented by all of this. And so these will be horseshoe pits here and here. This is going to be landscaping here, here, and here, and the rest of it's all going to be grass. But it'll also be with a 6-foot board-on-board fence around the whole perimeter.
Do we have a calculation on what the occupant load is going to be on that? How many more patrons are going to be allowed there? Do you guys do a calculation? I don't think traditionally we look at, say, restroom facilities for an additional space, but there's got to be room for like another 50 or 100 patrons out there, I would think, on a busy day.
Yeah, there will be an occupancy load calculated by the building department for the entire site.
Yeah. And this wouldn't trigger, say, more bathrooms for them or anything?
It may or may not, but typically it's not the land mass that is calculated, but the seats. How many people can they seat in there? And this is going to be 3 tables. So they're going to add 3 outdoor tables, whether it's a 4-top or a 6-top. That's something that the building department will figure out. But that's what they'll add to the occupant load.
Okay, and is there a restriction on, sorry if I wasn't paying attention at the beginning, is there a restriction on amplified music or live bands playing out there? Is the, say, and I'm thinking, is the jukebox going to be out there? So if somebody puts $5 in the jukebox and sits outside and says, crank it up, I want to hear my music I pay. I think we typically, we often put restrictions on amplified music in outdoor areas. Now, this doesn't have a real close impact, I don't think, to any residents, but is that all in there? Or?
We do not have a prohibition of amplified music in this area. We do have a provision in there that if it becomes louder and obnoxious, we can close it down, which we have standard in all our special use for taverns.
Thank you.
Thank you, Alderman. Any other questions or comments from the council?
Mayor Devine.
Alderman May?
John, did you say the building owner is separate from the parking lot owner, or is it just 2 separate lots?
Correct. Totally separate ownerships.
And does that parking lot, have any improved buildings or anything on it?
No. It's just the parking lot. Right now, his dumpster is on there, but if he's not going to pave that parking lot, he has to remove the dumpster, and so we can no longer use that parking lot for any purpose, and he's going to put the dumpster into the garage, which is just used for storage. The second floor of this particular tavern is also just storage.
Any other questions or comments from the council? Seeing none, are there any questions or comments from the audience? Let me ask again to state your name and address.
Andrew Janisic, 8824 West Beecher. I'm the proprietor of the Walleye Saloon. I understand the concerns with the gravel lot, and I understand the concerns with the dumpsters being out there. I have no problem moving the dumpsters. We'll put them in a cage. We'll do whatever you want there. I do have a concern with the parking lot. You know, this is owned by an 86-year-old lady in a nursing home who, I don't know if she depends, I doubt she depends on this money, but it definitely pays her taxes. And I'd really hate to see her financially struggle because of something the city has now imposed on me because I want to put a backyard patio at my bar. So that's what I wanted to say there. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Are there any other questions or comments from the audience on public hearing number 3? Okay. That wraps up our public hearing. We will now move on to item E on your agendas, which is citizen participation. This is an opportunity for residents to address the council on matters of interest to them. We also ask that you state your name and address for our record, and we ask that you try to keep your comments to approximately 5 minutes. You're on.
Ready?
We're ready.
All right. Good evening, Mayor Devine and members of the Common Council. My name is Brianna Olson, and I live on the 22nd 100 block of South 75th Street. As you may recall, it was a little less than a year ago that I stood before you and asked for your assistance in establishing some changes that would positively affect Pawn America's presence and influence in our neighborhood. I want to say how pleased I am with how quickly you arranged a meeting with Pawn America to try to resolve the problems that developed as a result of Pawn America's presence. I also want to express that while Pawn America has offered and implemented methods to aid in resolving these issues, it is either not enough or not the right solutions to correct the nuisance that the patrons create in our once quiet and charming neighborhood. Some of the nuisances that are currently occurring in our neighborhood as a direct result of Pawn America are several times a day there are police present, and not only West Allis police, but law enforcement from Brookfield, New Berlin, Greenfield, and other cities. Therefore, the store is not only bringing in criminals from our city, but drawing them in from other cities in southeastern Wisconsin as well. The patrons are obstructing the access to the alleys where residents park. There are lines of people outside the store before they open. Patrons are walking down our block with televisions and other items they intend to pawn. Patrons are urinating in public areas. Patrons are leaving property that they couldn't sell or pawn at the pawn store in the street for disposal. And we as neighbors have seen an increase in criminal activity and the need for more police calls. There was a stabbing that occurred outside the store last year. And also the dentist's office next door was broken into a few weeks ago. Another example is from an article from November 21st, 2013, where a Sheboygan man stole handbells from a church and pawned them at Pawn America twice, once to repay back the loan. Pawn America sold the stolen property to a man in California. The bells were clearly labeled with the church's name on them. Also, there are loud verbal arguments outside the pawn store that go on a constant basis, which often continues well into the gas station across the street. So, as I stated before, Pawn America did try to remedy these problems, and while we're appreciative of what Pawn America has attempted to do to restore peace in our neighborhood, over the course of the year, it has proven to be of little help. Recently, my neighbor Jacqueline and I wrote to Pawn America asking them to come up with some solutions to these problems. They actually wanted to meet with Jacqueline and I, and we were elated because we thought, oh great, now we have some solutions to these problems. However, we were extremely disappointed by this meeting as it resulted in no ideas that they brought to the table. So, except for they did offer to reduce their advertising by 60% and open up a new store. The promise to reduce their advertisement was not kept the first time they made it. I saw television ads almost on a daily basis and also heard the radio ads, especially during the holiday season. So in my mind, the reduction of advertisement is merely part of their marketing plan and not a solution to the volume of the customers that they serve. Because really, what company wants to reduce their sales? Additionally, they did attempt to open up another store in District 8 of Milwaukee, and it was denied. I asked Alderman Donovan why Pawn America was denied this license, and I found out that they polled the neighborhood, and the consensus was that they were not wanted in their neighborhood. Therefore, I have a really hard time believing that Pawn America will have the opportunity to build another store in southeastern Wisconsin in the near future. So, a year ago, I wanted to work together to make our neighborhood and Pawn America have a peaceful coexistence. But now it appears that Pawn America is out of remedies to the problems that continue to plague our neighborhood. So I will invite our neighbors to email their alderpersons to let you know that they agree with the statements that I have just made. And in addition, that our request, which is that the West Allis Pawn America be denied their pawning license, which is up for renewal on June 30th. So I want to thank you so much for your time and all that you do, and have a wonderful evening. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Is there anybody else that wishes to address the council under citizen participation this evening?
Good evening. My name is Russell Retzak. I live at the Landmark, a hideout for old geezers at 1441 South 68th Street. I'm appearing here this evening on behalf of the Ethics Board to give you a progress report regarding the financial statements that are required for those who occupy elected and appointed positions on the boards and commissions and the departments of the city. Approximately 60 individuals received those forms with a request that they fill them out and return them by the end of April. All but 6 of those individuals have done so. It is my expectation that those 6 will probably arrange to have theirs in by the end of the week, and I'll be checking on Monday. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Okay, my name is Carla Krieger, and I live at 2245 South 75th Street, and I'm here in regards to Pawn America. I live 5 houses down from there. A lot of things going on. I no longer use the exit to Lincoln Avenue. That's an accident waiting to happen. They squeal their tires, pulling in and out. So if you come off of Lincoln, you turn in right away to the parking lot. And then I know they have moved cars and made another entrance so you can come out the other way. The alley is like South 75th Street. They do sometimes 30 to 40 miles an hour down that street. I have called one night in regards to 12 to 15 people out there in the parking lot after the pawn shop was closed. And I know some of them were employees because they wear white shirts, black ties, black pants. And they were very, very loud. I called the police. They told me they couldn't come at that point. They were on a shift change. I pay my taxes. You tell me you're on a shift change, so I know at this point I'm unprotected by the police. They were very loud. I waited an hour, still no police presence. Called again. Police said, we'll send a squad as soon as we can. Half hour later, a squad, and I even tried to tell them, all I need is just a squad pull in there to deter maybe anything that may be going on. You don't have to say anything, just go in there and be visible. When the squad came, they did. The kids began to break up and move away. And it's a constant there. I have had people park on, when the parking lot is full, Lincoln Avenue gets full, they come down 75th Street to park. There's a lot of shady people, and you know they are shady. I've had them cut through my yard to get to the pawn shop, because I don't have no fencing in front of my house or anything, but when you go through, I have a back gate to go down, and they go through there, and I get scared. I'm by myself in that house 95% of the time, so I'm very scared of all that going on. The employees also cut through yards, I have seen, and they park on 75th Street because it's very hard with the traffic going there. So I decided I will go down towards Beecher. Well, there you still have to be careful because sometimes they come off of 76 onto Beecher and they swing right into the thing. And a lot of times I sit and wait to see where they're going, to see if it is a neighbor, to see if it is from the pawn shop. And 99% of the time, it's the pawn shop. And they're just constantly the shady people. I've seen a lot of things. I mean, I know the police have been there. Just last night, there was a person in my yard. And my neighbor's dog came out and started barking. My dog started barking, and her dog attacked the guy, and he took off. And he also comes from the pawn shop. And so I'm very concerned of all the neighbors' safety, not just mine, but all the neighbors' safety of what is actually coming in there. I mean, I know they have a right to have a business. I understand that. But we need to get control of what is going on in our neighborhood. I'm just definitely afraid for anybody or whatever. I mean, I've been sworn at. Wintertime, they don't move over. They'll just say, you know, whip the finger at me, swear at me. And I don't need that. I've been where I've been for 31 years. Never, ever had a problem like this. Never, in 31 years. And now when they came in, it's just, everything just seems like it's deteriorating very quickly. You know, and this has been going on since they pretty much opened. And it's just like, it seems like we're getting more and more people, you know. So it's just what I wanted to say.
Thank you very much. Does anybody else wish to address the council under citizen participation this evening? Okay, seeing none, we will close citizen participation, and we will move on to item F on your agendas. Our standing committees will be meeting during recess, and those room numbers are listed on page 2. We will go on to item G, the mayor's report. Busy. First, I want to take a minute to congratulate the winners from the awards dinner for the West Allis West Milwaukee Chamber of Commerce. The West Allis Business of the Year and the West Milwaukee Business of the Year was Milwaukee Machine Works, mostly because of their work and their efforts in workforce training partnerships with the school district and the technical colleges. Our Citizen of the Year was Ray Nazer for his work in the West Allis Players, as well as the Historical Commission and several other organizations in the city. And our Young Professional of the Year was Miss Colleen Plaskota, who has done countless numbers of fundraisers and charitable work for people in need, people suffering with illnesses, sometimes terminal illnesses. And I want to just congratulate all of them for their work in the community. I want to remind everybody that the 2014 West Allis Fire Department Open House is coming up on the 17th of May, Saturday from 10 a.m. until 1 p.m. That's always a very popular event, especially for families with young children, to let them climb all over the trucks. I want to give a shout out to the Longfellow Lions. I was over there with State Representative Dan Reamer celebrating Arbor Day and helped them plant a tree out in front of the school on 60th Street. I also wanted to announce and thank our IT department for their work in what we rolled out on Earth Day, which is a new interactive map that highlights all the recycling locations in the city. And it goes beyond just the aluminum cans and bottles, but it has hot links on the map for hazardous materials and CFL bulbs, prescription drugs, propane tanks, and anything else you can recycle is listed on this map. I know I and a lot of people in this room also attended the dinner. Russ Retzak from the Ethics Board and all the other people that volunteer on our citizen advisory committees. I want to thank them for all the extra hours they put in on those groups. They don't get paid, so we are very appreciative of that. And lastly, I just want to, of course, announce once again that we are welcoming Johnson Controls into the city of West Allis. They are leasing a very substantial amount of office space and bringing several jobs, very good jobs, to our community over on 801 South 60th Street. So I know we're all very excited about that and looking forward to seeing that area continue to grow. That concludes the mayor's report this evening. Do we have any alderpersons' comments?
Mayor Devine.
Alderman Haas.
Yeah, thanks, Mayor Devine. As the new alderman on the council, I've had the opportunity to meet with a number of the department heads, and I want to thank everyone from all the departments that have been very gracious toward me as the new person, and all of my fellow council members also who have helped me in learning the ropes. Mayor Devine thanked IT. I thank IT for the new iPad, which I have right here. Thank you, IT department. And I do want folks to know that if I'm on my iPad, it's actually for city activities. I'm not surfing the net. And lastly, I had the opportunity to visit the Center for Communication, Hearing, and Deafness. The Center for Communication, Hearing, and Deafness is located at Cleveland and National here in our city, and they are doing an outstanding job with folks who require their services, and they're a real asset to the community, and wanted to pass that along, how good it is to have facilities like that in our community. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Alderman Haas. Any other reports from the alder people?
Mayor Devine,
Alderman Lysick.
I'd just like to point out to anyone that may have missed the passing of former Mayor Jack Barlick. He passed away the other day. Services are tomorrow at St. Rita's at 11 o'clock, visitation at 9 o'clock. I know there are most of the people here at City Hall probably never had the opportunity to work with Mayor Barlick. I did. I know Mr. Zeeler did. There aren't many others that had that opportunity. I actually replaced Mayor Barlick when he was elected mayor. He held this seat, and we mourn his loss. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other reports from the alderpersons?
Mayor Devine?
Every week, you two. I think it's Alderman May's turn this time.
I just wanted to quickly say happy birthday to our council president, Tom Lysick. Happy birthday, sir.
Thank you.
And also, if people would keep their eyes peeled for the West Allis Now this coming Thursday. Our last council meeting, Alderman Barzak, it marked 50 years since a Barzak sat in his chair. And it's a very nice write-up, very passionate, and I can tell you, you've got a great affection for your father and what you do here. So I just want to congratulate you and your family on 50 years in office.
Alderman Probst.
Well, Alderman May stole a tiny little bit of my thunder, but that's okay. That was also to extend happy birthday wishes to our council president. But also to let you know that in keeping with one of Alderman Lysick's comments regarding former Mayor Barlick, we also lost a great superintendent of the West Allis Public Schools in Sam Castagna, and he passed last week, and his funeral was yesterday. Lots of West Allis dignitaries, both in and out of the district, were there. So it was a somber experience, but definitely one in which he lived a long, healthy life, and we all got a chance to say goodbye.
Thank you. Any other reports from the elder people? Okay, President Lysick.
Mayor Devine, I move for approval of the minutes of the Common Council regular meeting of April 15th, 2014.
Second.
There's a motion with a second by Alderman Reinke. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Moving on to item J, I'll ask for a motion to place item 4 on file and refer items 5, 6, 7, and 8 to the city attorney.
So moved.
Second?
Motion by Alderman Probst, second by Alderman May. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Standing committee reports, we have none this evening.
Mayor Devine,
Alderman Lysick.
I move that we stand in recess until conclusion of the committee meetings.
Second.
There is a motion with a second by Alderman Weigel. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? We are in recess.